On November 3rd will be the biggest election of our lives. For decades, Democrat politicians like Joe Biden have taken black voters for granted. They made you big promises before every election, and then the moment they got to Washington, they abandoned you and they sold you out. The Democrat Party used you and they lied to you every single time. You know it better than anybody else knows it. The Democrats will always take back the vote. What they want to do is they'll take that vote back. They want to take the black voter for granted, and they have taken the black voter for granted. And it's not fair, it's not right, and it's not going to happen because we're going to have such a victory like you've never had before. In 2016, thank you. In 2016, I made you a solemn pledge that whether you voted for me or not, I would be your greatest champion. Since that time, I've delivered even more than I promised. It's one of those things. Few politicians do that, but I believe we have. Before the China virus, we built the greatest economy for African Americans in the history of our country, and we are doing it again. In the first 3 years, we achieved the lowest black unemployment rate in history. The black youth unemployment rate reached an all-time low. We achieved the largest job gains for African Americans on record. Black Americans saw the largest increase in home ownership. The poverty rate for African Americans reached the lowest level ever recorded. And last year, 811,000 African Americans were lifted out of poverty, the most in over 51 years. In my first 3 years, we lifted 6.6 million people out of poverty, the largest poverty reduction of any president in the history of our country. I did more for the black community in 47 months. I saw they used that line, so I don't want to ruin it by saying it a second time. It was in the video, but I will say it again. Than Joe Biden did in 47 years. And I'm here today to announce a brand new plan to deliver more opportunity, more security, more fairness, and more prosperity to black communities. We call it the Platinum Plan. Platinum Plan. And that's a contract with black Americans, and it's going to be something that people talk about for a long time to come. If you vote Republican over the next 4 years, we will create 3 million new jobs for the black community. Open 500,000 new black-owned businesses. Increase access to capital in black communities by $500 billion. And this includes investing in community development, financial institutions, and minority depository institutions. Build up peaceful and safer urban neighborhoods with the highest standards of, and you know this, of policing. We want the highest standards. We have to have highest standards of policing. Bring even greater fairness to the justice system. We did criminal justice reform. We remember that. Even greater, we will create a national clemency project to right wrongful prosecutions and to pardon individuals who have reformed their life. You saw Alice, right? We love Alice. She had another 24 years to go. Can you believe it? She served 22 years. She had another 24 years to go. It was ridiculous. And she is a great woman. Create a ladder of opportunity for African American children by delivering school choice to every parent in America. So important. Give black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their communities. Bring better and tailored health care to address the historic disparities that we've had for so many years. You know that. This includes investing in treatments for kidney disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, sickle cell disease, and maternal mortality. Advance home ownership and wealth building in the Black community. Bring more manufacturing back to the USA, which we're doing anyway, and back to the inner cities, which have been largely forgotten, although not so much in the last 3 years when you get right down to it. Thank you. End Democrat policies that import low-wage foreign workers from overseas to replace Black workers in our inner cities. Joe Biden cares more about the citizens of foreign countries than he does about Black Americans living in our own country. I will always put Americans first, and that includes, very, very importantly, Black Americans. And there's much more in our plan, which we're releasing today, so we'll get everyone a copy, and it's actually been very well received, and we appreciate that. The Platinum Plan is a bold vision that we can and really will achieve over the next 4 years, and we'll be able to do it, if not sooner. Unlike my opponent, I'm not a career politician, thank goodness. I get results, and I keep my promise, and you've seen that. You've seen that. Together, we will not only build up America's Black communities, we'll help with your vote, with the Platinum Plan, we'll lift up all forgotten communities, and we'll strengthen our entire nation. And we are going to have an incredible 4 years, but more importantly, we're going to have an incredible 40 years. We're going to have many, many great years because we're setting a foundation for the future. So when I'm not here, you're going to be here forever, especially look at these young people over here. You're going to really be there for a long time, but we want this for long term. This year, the Republican Party has 26 Black Republicans running for Congress. Where are they? Are they here? Are they here? A lot of them are here, right? Whoa, that's a good-looking group of people. And you're doing well, just about in every instance. Well, we're going to help you to do even better. We'll be helping you. You watch. And we're thrilled to be joined today by 8 of them. Raise your hand. Which are the 8? Oh, that's so great. Yeah. They have what it takes. That's great. That's fantastic. Great job. One of them I've endorsed very strongly. I saw an ad that I liked. I thought it was great. Raise your hand, please. What a great. They've been now endorsed, I will tell you. And congratulations, by the way. It's going to be a fantastic night, November 3rd. Now, I don't know, with this ballot situation, it's you're not going to see it. November 3rd, the Democrats are playing games. You see that? You see they found ballots in a wastepaper basket. They found ballots dumped in a stream. Take a look at Iowa, the primaries. You remember the primary? They went to Iowa. We love Iowa, but they tried this ballot concept, and they still don't know who won. That was a long time ago. That was in their primary, the first primary. And it's a very terrible thing that's happening, very, very terrible thing. But you're going to be raising the hand, if not November 3rd, hopefully shortly thereafter. Now, I know you're going to be raising your hand. With me, we may end up in a dispute for a long time because that's the way they want it. But we're going to end up winning, that's for sure, okay? We're going to end up winning. When I give my State of the Union address next year, I look forward to welcoming a historic number of Black Republican members of Congress, and we're going to take back the House. We're going to take back the House. We've already won some seats back. They don't like to talk about that. The fake news. You'll find out about the fake news. Have you figured out the fake news yet? You're young and handsome and beautiful. Have you figured out the fake news yet? You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll learn to live with it. You'll learn to do what you have to do. But we are going to take back the House. I think we're only 17 short now. We picked up a couple. We just won a big one in Los Angeles. We haven't won in 22 years. California. Won a big one in Wisconsin. It was a great one. We won some really good ones. So we're inching up, and you watch what's going to happen. It's going to be a very big night for the House. It's going to be a really retired Pelosi. That's not a bad idea. That's going to be great. Congratulations, all. That's already a great achievement. It really is. It's already. But together we'll fulfill our contract with Black America and we'll pass the Platinum Plan into law, and we'll do it quickly and easily. We're also joined by a great friend of mine, Dr. Ben Carson. Where's Ben? Ben, I love Ben. Special man. He's doing a great job, too. He's been my friend from the beginning. Can I tell the one story, Ben? He came up to me he was campaigning. He was the toughest one. I mean, to tell you what, we had some really tough ones. You know, a lot of them like to try and say they were tough, but they weren't, like Kasich. He only had one thing. He wouldn't leave the race. He'd get -1. He's going on to the next one. This guy did great. He was incredible. And he came up to me during the race, and he was doing well. He said, you know that you're going to win, don't you? I said, excuse me? He said, you know you're going to win. He was doing great. And he was really like in second and third and fourth and back to second. I mean, he was right up there. He was great. I said, we got to get this guy out of here. But he came up to me, he did, and he said, you're going to win. And I'll let him tell you the rest of the story if he'd like to do it sometime. But he gave a very specific reason, and I will never forget what he said. But he said, you know you're going to win, don't you? And I just thought it was really nice, and you know what I'm talking about, Ben. So Ben Carson, what a job he's done, too, respected by everybody. Thank you, Ben. And a man who ran in the primary, who I got a call from another great man, David Perdue. He said, could you do us a favor? There's a guy named Brian Kemp, and he's running in a tough primary. He's got a tough opponent. And do you think you could maybe endorse him? I love David Perdue. I said, who is he? I don't know him, okay? And he said, well, he's been for you. I said, well, I've heard that before. I better be careful. And we did a little, where's Brian? Where's Brian? Right over here, Brian. So we did a little research. And he was for me all the way. And I said, that's good. You know, the worst thing is when you're endorsing people that say bad things, right? He only said good. And I got to know him, and I got to know his wife, Marty, and I said, absolutely, and we endorsed him, and he won that primary so easily. He won so easily. And they're still trying to figure out what happened in the race. I've been watching. You know what? It wasn't that close. He won by, like, a lot, actually. You know, he didn't win by 15 votes. He won by a lot. How many votes was that? That was a lot. Well, we won't call it a landslide, but it wasn't very close, you know? How many votes was that, Brian? It was a lot. 51. To me, you know what that is? It's Yankee Stadium for a World Series. Oh. You know, people would say, oh, that was tight. I don't think, like I heard I won Michigan by 12,000. I said, that's an almost full Madison Square Garden, you know? Not quite full, but that's Yankee Stadium for the World Series. I think that's a lot. We look at it differently. But I do want to introduce also David Perdue, who is, he is really an incredible guy, and he loves everybody in this room. Where's David? David, please stand up. Is that right? Did you make that call? Well, you made that call. He made that call, and that was a good call, because your governor's doing a great job, and David's doing a great job, and I hope you can support David and Brian and all of them. They're incredible people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David, for everything. Thanks also to Oklahoma's first black Speaker of the House, T.W. Shannon. Where's T.W.? Oh, I like that. I want to do that. Thank you, T.W. Great reputation. Thank you very much. And a friend of mine who, my children, you know, they'll always be children. They may be a little older than children, but they're always my children. They love her, Lynn Patton. Lynn, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. And if you're a UFC fan, anybody like UFC? It's, I'll tell you what, that's right, Usman. He goes, Usman. He's, I know who he is. He's tough, that's who he is. Kamaru Usman, where is our champ? Come on, champ, get up. Man, oh man, oh man. What a fighter you are. I don't want to mess with him. I may weigh a couple of pounds more. Do you think I could take you to fight, champ? I don't think so. He goes, no. I think you're right, champ. But I watched a fight you had a couple of months ago. Unbelievable and talent, but right up here too. You know, it's a combination. The muscles are important, but you got to have the other. You got to have the. You know, he actually looks very good in a suit, but he's one of the few people who look better without a suit. There aren't too many of us. Hey. There aren't too many of us that can say that, right? Right, men? The men in this audience, huh? But I just want to thank you, champ, and good luck. I'll be watching. You have a big fight coming up, and I'll be watching, and it's a great group of people, great group of champions. Thank you very much. Thank you. Another great fighter, Ali Abdelaziz, who is tough. Where is he? There he is. Oh, you're tough. You're so tough, the two of you guys. I'd like to see you both fight, but there's a little weight difference, I guess, right? You probably think you could take him, right? But what is the difference in weight? What is it? 20? 10? I know. What is it, though? And how, were you a fighter at one time? And how good, you pretty good? Not good as him? Nobody else is either, so, you know, that's easy. Yeah, you were a good fighter. Also, Atlanta's top hip-hop producer, Polo, do you know, where is he? Where is he? The Don. You know, Don King used to call me the Don, right? He still does, actually. But you didn't get it from Don King, I know that, right? Nice to see you. Great to have you. Great to have you. Thank you very much. Do we have another UFC fighter here? Because I had heard yes, because I know we had somebody else go. I just don't want to skip it in case we do. I have a lot of respect for them. Anybody gets in a ring and does that and comes out winning, to me, I have a lot of respect. And when you become the champ, I want to tell you, that's a hell of a thing. That's what you live for, the belt, right? The money or the belt? You know what? If you get the belt, the money comes, right? So, great going, champ. Fantastic. Over the last 50 years, black Americans have mostly voted Democrat, but every day more black Americans are deciding that the old way is not working. 5 decades of evidence prove that Democrat politicians do not care about the black community. They only care about power for themselves, whatever that means. My opponent is offering black Americans nothing but the same old, tired, empty slogans. By the way, he's staying in again today. The guy. Hey, champ, if I lose to a guy that's like you losing to a fighter that, you know, hasn't worked out in the last 6 months. This guy never goes out. It's terrible, huh? Oh, you better make sure I win. I'm going to be very embarrassed. I lost to a guy that didn't campaign. You know why he's not campaigning? I guess it's an energy factor. So what the hell is going on? If I lose to a man that doesn't campaign, no, he's announced every day, he announced we're going to stay in today. I don't know. Hey, I can't tell you. But the Democrats are angry at him. They say, you can't do that. You know, I just left Florida, and from here I'm going to Washington, then I'm going to Virginia, then I'm going to someplace else and someplace else. By the way, I see Kelly and I see Collins back there. Will you please stand up? Okay, please. Please. You know, those are two champions. So, you know, they had their names in there, but they took them out. You know why? Because they probably want to not mention them together. They're going to end up liking each other. You watch. And they're two great people. I'm not going to skip them over. They thought it would be diplomatic. That's not diplomatic. That's stupid, right? But I stand here to offer solutions. I want to congratulate you both, really fighting a good fight. I want to say that. Both of you, Doug, Kelly, really great. It's amazing. Well, I sort of like it. You know why? They're going to be in there fighting. Don't anybody get out. They're going to get, and everybody's going to come with them. And the only thing I know for sure, they're all going to vote for me, both of them. So, Brian, don't let them get out. Don't let anybody get out. Let them. That's going to be a fight. But everyone's going for both of them. Huh? Okay, it's going to be, hey, we don't have long to go either. We don't have long to go. November 3rd. I've spent the last 4 years reversing the horrible damage Joe Biden inflicted on the black community over 47 years. 47 years. He always says, oh, I should have done this. I said, you've been there for 47 years, you know? It's always great when they tell you what you should be doing and they haven't done it themselves. And, you know, it's not like it was 25 years ago that he left. He was there 3.5 years ago, right? So, you know, it's one of those things. No one in Washington politics today has done more to hurt black Americans than Joe Biden. It's true. For half a century, Joe's personally advocated or enacted virtually every policy that has caused pain and suffering in the black community. You know that. Joe Biden shipped millions of your best jobs overseas, hollowed out the black middle class, and with open borders, trapped children in failing government schools, sent young men to fight in endless wars. They just never end. They're coming back home. You see that. They're coming back home. Many are already back. While our inner cities crumbled at home and made cities less safe and less secure, Joe Biden should not be demanding your support. He should be begging for your forgiveness. He really should be. He should be. My opponent drafted the 1994 disaster, the 1994 crime bill, which caused unfair sentencing disparities that devastated black families. And I mean, just devastated. I have heard more about the 1994, and when we did criminal justice reform, it was largely about erasing that terrible act. That was his deal. I rolled back the unfair provisions of the 1994 Biden crime bill, and I signed it into groundbreaking criminal justice reform, which people are so happy about. Even my enemies are saying thank you for that. Today, we're glad to be joined by the first person to be released under the First Step Act, who I was honored to have as my guest at the State of the Union, a really wonderful man, Matthew Charles. Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? Where's Matthew? What a good man, what a smile. I looked at that smile from the podium downstairs. I was surrounded by all those killer politicians. And I looked at Matthew, who's the nicest looking guy in the house. Thank you, Matthew. You're doing well, Matthew, right? That's great, Matthew. You deserve what you got. You deserve it. Biden supported the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization, which eliminated 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs held by black Americans. You know that. Joe Biden's globalist agenda closed down factories in Baltimore and sent them. Just see what happened. All these factories, all these jobs, all these factories, sent them to Beijing. He shuttered the plants in Michigan, and he sent them to Mexico. I replaced NAFTA, one of the worst trade deals, one of the worst, stupidest deals I've ever seen in my life, with the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. That was one they said could not be done, David, right? They said it couldn't be done. David Perdue, they said that one couldn't be done, right, David? And we got it done in pretty quick time, too. To revitalize neglected communities, we created nearly 9,000 opportunity zones with Tim Scott, South Carolina. You know Tim Scott. Tim Scott is great. Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina came to my office, came to the Oval Office, and he had this idea, and I said, that sounds good. And we got it done, and people were surprised that we could even get it done, and it has turned out to be incredible. $75 billion of investment have poured into these neighborhoods, which will create an estimated 500,000 jobs and lift 1 million Americans out of poverty. When the China virus struck, we raced to ensure that black Americans had the medical care and the financial support that they needed. Through the Paycheck Protection Program, which was a big deal, we helped save over 200,000 black-owned small businesses. A A lot of small businesses. It's incredible. The black community has tremendous talent in terms of those businesses and small businesses. We saved at least 200,000 of them. As we continue to battle the virus, my administration is sheltering those at highest risk while rapidly developing treatments, and the vaccine is coming very quickly. I see where a couple of the Democrats don't want to have the vaccine because they say, well, we don't want it because we think Trump is pushing it too fast. Well, that's the reason we're going to have it. This would have taken years to get. We're years ahead of schedule. And this would have been 2-3 years by Democrats. But now they're very concerned because they're afraid it's happening too fast, and that means we're going to get credit. I don't want credit. We want to save lives. That's what it's. We will crush the virus. Our opponents will crush the black middle class. That's what they've been doing. And they've been doing it for a long time, for too long. They will deliver a crippling shutdown and a very steep depression. If he gets elected, this guy, okay, you will have the greatest depression that this country has ever seen. And that includes a pretty big one in 1929. Hello, how are you? You great. I love her dress. That's great. Thank you for being here. I didn't know you were going to be here. Thank you very much. Nearly 1.3 million African Americans have gotten jobs in the last 4 months alone. And next year we will be, I think it'll be the greatest year, economically the greatest year in the history of our country. And that's good for everybody. That's good for everybody, right? Especially for these young geniuses, these young political geniuses that are coming along. But I think we're going to have the greatest year in the history of our country economically. And I think our third quarter, which happens to be, it's going to be announced 2 days before, the numbers come out 2 days before the election, right at the beginning of November. And I'll say it now. These people, all those people up there, they'll hold me to it. They won't give me credit if I was right. But if I was wrong, it'll be headlines. We have breaking news. Trump said wrong. But I think we're going to have a tremendous third quarter. After years of rebuilding other countries, we're finally rebuilding our country. The path to the American dream has always been education. Republicans believe that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time. And Joe Biden isn't allowed to go there because of the radical left. He's controlled by the radical left totally. He's exhausted. But Biden's promised a ban on charter schools and to oppose school choice. Joe Biden is willing to spend billions and billions upon resettling refugees from all around the world, but he won't spend one penny providing school choice to black children in America, which is interesting. During their first year in office, President Obama and VP Biden cut funding for historically black colleges and universities. I've increased HBCU funding, and I made it permanent. Just a quick story. So what was happening is I'd be there the first year. I saw these probably 42 people came up, and they were the heads of individual colleges, historically black colleges, universities, and they were the heads, and I'd see them. I said, hello, how you doing? They were nice people. And we took a picture in the White House. We do that. A lot of presidents don't believe anyone should ever enter the Oval Office, but them with me, I say, come on in. But we took a picture. Then the next year they were there again, and I said, right, we know the story, my friend. We know the story. They were there, and I said, oh, what are you doing back here? They said, we're here because we need money again. I said, what do you mean again? And I forgot about it. I said, all right, well, what is, and they got it. And then the third year, David, they came in again, right? And I said, what is this? What are you guys here for? I mean, you're great people, but why? Well, we don't have any funding. They don't have permanent funding. So they could be shut out if they had the wrong president. Honestly, you could have the wrong president and you wouldn't get 10 cents. They wouldn't give you anything. And I said, that's terrible. So you come up here do you like doing it? No. And the one gentleman looked at me and said, we feel like beggars. That was a hell of a statement. I said, I understand that. And I said, we can't let this happen. So we worked on it. David Perdue, all of us worked on it. Kelly worked on it. We all worked on it. And frankly, and I have to say, you know, it had to go through the House. And where's Doug? Doug worked on it. Right, Doug? You remember that. That was a hard thing. It wasn't easy. There were people that didn't want to do it. And we got it passed. We got more money than they asked for. I said, you're going to need more. I'm in the real estate business. I said, you always need more. Whatever you think you need more. But we got more money than they asked for, and we got it for a period of 10 years, right? So I said, we signed it together, about 42 people. We signed it together. I said, the only bad thing is that I like you people. I won't see you anymore. I won't see you for another 10 years. Let's see, will we be president in 10 years? Only if we add a couple of terms in. Oh, now we have a story. There's your breaking news. I told you he's a dictator. We've been saying he will not give up power. Under no circumstances will he give up power. He intends to serve at least 2 more terms. Oh, that's the big story. You know, you can't joke, because if you joke, they take it away. You know, a lot of times with a little sarcasm and you joke, but you're being serious, and then you start laughing afterwards. But they always cut it before the laugh. They cut it so that they think he's serious. He wants 12 more years. They start shouting now, 12 more years. Thank you. Earlier this year, Biden said that if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. You know that. And this was very outrageous. This was offensive. In fact, he was very derisive of the black Americans when he very negatively compared them to another group of Americans who was very terrible, and he did it. Biden believes that all black Americans have to think the same way. That's what it was all about. Today's Democrat Party is run by, he doesn't know black Americans like I do. That I can tell you. Today's Democrat Party is run by out-of-touch liberal hypocrites who stereotype you, disrespect you, and sell you out. They're only good for your 6-month period, 6 months before the election. And then they're very nice, and they want your vote, and then they, as you say, I like that better than what I'm saying, they forget all about you. They're gone. They're gone. Biden wants to lecture the country about racial justice when he spent his career hurting black Americans, hurting Hispanic Americans, and forging alliances with pro-segregation Democrat senators. You know that. Racial justice begins with Joe Biden's retirement from public life. So today I'm urging black Americans to walk away from the corrupt, hateful, divisive, and very extreme, and they are going crazy, Democrat Party. On no issue has the Democrat Party more totally failed the black community than public safety. Democrats have run America's inner cities at every level of government for 100 years and even more. Last year, 19 of the top 20 most dangerous cities in America were run by Democrats. The murder rate is higher in Baltimore than in Afghanistan, El Salvador, or Honduras, right? It's higher. Instead of fighting for public safety for these communities, the Democrats are attacking our police and empowering far-left rioters, looters, and anarchists. You know, they are anarchists. The Democrat Party's war on cops has caused black-owned businesses to be burned and black homes and churches to be totally destroyed. Most tragically of all, so many innocent black lives have been cruelly taken from us. People are dying by the thousands in black-on-black crime, and I want it to stop. And people aren't talking about it. They're not talking about it. They're not talking about it. In Chicago, as an example, there are weekends when 60, 70, or more people are shot. This is shot, and many die. How can we allow this to go on? How can we allow this to happen? But they're all Democrat-run cities. Every year, thousands of African Americans are murdered as a result of violent crime, and again, in these Democrat-run monstrosities, the way they run them. It's worse. It's worse than Afghanistan. It's worse than, we're at war. We go to war zones, and we don't lose this many people in war zones. Democrats ignore these American victims, and I won't. And, you know, we have to be asked to come in. We have to be asked to come in. By law, they have to say, please come in. And wherever we've gone in, Minneapolis, we went in, we solved the problem. They should have called us 2 weeks earlier. They would have had a city left, okay? But Seattle, they knew we were coming in. I said, we're going in. We don't care. We're going in. The night before we went in, they left. That was the end of that. And others. I mean, look at Portland. I mean, how bad is Portland? How bad is Portland? And we could solve that one in about a half an hour. A bunch of young anarchists, they live with their parents. In a basement also, they live in a basement. And I'll always support the heroes of law enforcement. We have to, including over 50,000 incredible black police officers who risk their lives every day to keep us all safe. You know, they protect people that they've never met before, and it's very dangerous. They're amazing. Those pushing to defund the police are hurting black communities the most. And as I've always said, when there is police misconduct, the justice system must hold wrongdoers fully responsible and accountable, and they will do that. Politicians supporting mob violence are not allies of the black community. They're causing extraordinary damage, grief, hardship. In recent months, our nation has grieved for the tragic deaths of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery. Our hearts break for their families and for all families who have lost a loved one, especially if you look at this way, so senseless. But we can never allow mob rule. To have safety, to have prosperity, to have everything that you want to have, we must always ensure the rule of law. As you know, we have to. Many of those who are spreading violence in our cities are supporters of an organization called Black Lives Matter, or BLM. It's really hurting the black community. It's hurting the black community. This is an unusual name for an organization whose ideology and tactics are right now destroying many black lives, and whose first phrase was, you remember this, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon, referring to our police. That's referring to our police. The stated goal of BLM organization people is to achieve the destruction of the nuclear family, abolish the police, abolish prisons, abolish border security, abolish capitalism, and abolish school choice. That's what their stated goals are. This is not the agenda of the black community. This is the agenda of an extreme socialist, or worse. You know what the other word is. Yeah, Marxist, communist, communist. But this is the extreme socialist left, but beyond that, in my opinion. That's why the founders of the organization call themselves trained Marxists. And yet we have major corporations, out of weakness or fear or whatever reason, donating hundreds of millions of dollars to them. These are fools. These are fools. The big progressive corporations donating to BLM should instead be spending their money helping black families rebuild from the left wing, from these horrible left-wing riots. Wealthy liberal hypocrites want to defund the police in our inner cities while living behind walled compounds. They're walled compounds. You got to see the way some of these people live. They live pretty well. You know, the funny thing is that if anything ever happened, they'd be the first to go. You know that, right? Let's go get these people. They're fools. They want to get rid of school choice for black children while sending their own children to the best private schools in the land. They want to open borders, and that's what they want. They want open borders for you, but security for themselves. They want top security, but let's open up the borders. Let's let everybody pour into our country so that you won't have jobs left. You won't have anything left. You won't have, and there's a tremendous public health crisis You know, we built now over 330 miles of wall, and it will be finished soon. And our numbers on the border are now the best they've been in decades, and it's incredible what's happened. The wall has been incredible. 330 miles, David, that's pretty good. A long way, considering we had a party that didn't want to let us build the wall. You know, they wanted the wall 10 years ago. They really wanted the wall. And as soon as I wanted it, they didn't want it. And I said it last night. We had a tremendous rally last night. We had probably 35,000 people. I said it last night. I said, I made a mistake. I should have said, we will not build a wall. And we would have had funding in about 15 minutes. Instead, I had to win 6 different lawsuits. This was not easy. Crazy Nancy. She's crazy. And you know, do you notice how quiet it is now? Now it's 330 miles. It'll be built first. It'll be completed. We're doing 10 miles a day on average. Think of this. I don't hear anymore about the wall. They don't want to talk about the wall anymore. But the numbers are great. Republicans will always uphold equal justice under the law. We will defend the civil rights of every single American, and we will defend our God-given freedoms, including religious liberty. And the Second Amendment, by the way. And, Second Amendment. I have to save our Second Amendment. I'm the only thing standing between you and me and Second Amendment. I'm standing right. We're not going to be losing our Second Amendment. They're going to get rid of it. You know who they put in charge? Beto. Remember Beto? Beto O'Rourke. That's a Spanish name. He needed the Spanish vote, right? He said, I want Spanish. I said, what about Hispanic? He said, I don't know about that. He knows less about it than perhaps I do. But Beto, remember he had a cover in a terrible magazine. And he said that I was born to run for president. He was hot then, even though he just lost a race to Ted Cruz. He was hot, you know, and he said, I was born to run for president. Anybody that says that is a sure loser. Can you imagine if I said that? I said, I was born to run for president. You said, this guy's whacked out. This guy, it's not an easy deal going on over here, I'll tell you. I had a very nice life before. You know that? You sort of read about my life. You knew a lot about my life. I had a great life. What the hell did I do this for, David? What did I do this for, David Perdue? No, I enjoy it. You know why I enjoy it? I love it. Oh, by the way, did you see they just caught the FBI? Did you see the text messages? Oh, it's brutal. One of the guys said, listen, this is really illegal. I want insurance. They bought insurance for these people because they thought they're going to be locked up. We got it. Now they're going crazy. This is the hottest thing right now on the internet, all over the place. Oh, boy. They've been looking at me. So essentially then, it was the exact opposite. Okay, and you see Biden's son? He got 3.5. Hunter. Where's Hunter? Remember? Where's Hunter? You know what I do? I call him Where's Hunter. That's his name. Where's Hunter? We made a T-shirt. I was making a speech. I said, where's Hunter? Where is he? I'm looking at this. I was kidding. I said, where's Hunter? The next day it was the biggest selling T-shirt in the history of Where's Hunter? Now, Hunter got a check from the wife of the mayor of Moscow for $3.5 million. Would anybody accept whatever he was supposed to do for $3.5 million? There's no job that I can think of. $3.5 million. Now, before Biden became vice president, right, he got nothing. He had no money, no nothing, got thrown out of the military. He got thrown out. He had no job. Now he's getting checks for $3.5 million from the mayor, the ex-mayor, very substantial person, by the way, of Moscow. So we got it wrong. It wasn't Trump. I have nothing to do. I didn't have a phone call. Now think of it. Let's call Bob Mueller, put him on the case. Thank you. Thank you. He said, let's call Bob Mueller. I stole from him. Hey, I plagiarized from him like Biden. That was very good. He says, let's call Bob Mueller. Bob's a sharp guy. He'll get him. He'll figure it out. How about me? 3 years of investigation, 48 million. They find nothing. A friend of mine, very smart in New York, said, very smart, he said, you must be the most honest person in the world. When 19 geniuses, bad people, but geniuses, plus unlimited law enforcement, 49 FBI agents, 2.5 years, can't find anything, you gotta be the cleanest person in the world. It's true. It's true. But it turned out to be the opposite story. It was them who was dealing with Russia. David, if you guys could start working on that when you get back. Doug, please, if you don't mind. You were so incredible to me, and if you don't mind, think of it. It was the exact opposite, Doug. He's trying to defend us. Please defend the president. Well, it turned out to be the opposite. They were the ones that were dealing with Russia. It was a disinformation campaign. Kelly, start working on that with David, please, okay? I think Monday morning would be okay. Well, we are appointing a Supreme Court justice from Ohio. No, we are. That's a big deal. You know, the Democrats, they don't think we should do it. Okay? Because, you know, we have a lot of time left. You know, it's really January 20th. We have a lot of time left, but they don't think we should do it because it's toward the end of the first term. Well, we got a lot of time left. Now, put them in our shoes. Do you think they'd say, well, I think we should probably not do this? What chance do we have of that, David? Zero, would you say? No, the only difference is they would have gone even crazier. They would have gone totally. They would have been fighting, let's get it done immediately. They would be working over the weekend. No, they're just they have been not good to deal with. But you know what? When we built this great success, it started to all come together. Then we got interrupted by China. What they did, they should never have done that. They should remember this. We can never forget it. But it was starting to come together, and it will come together because we're going to have an even greater success, in my opinion, next year. Well, Democrats have tried to silence pastors, and we had some great pastors up here. I watched backstage. I watched those guys, and I said, I don't want to follow them. I don't want to follow them. I was looking for somebody else to speak first. But they were great, weren't they? Really great? You know the truth, I could say they love you, they love the country. They at least like me, because you know what? If they didn't, they couldn't do what they just did. They did it from the heart, didn't they? Really. I watched that. I won't forget it either. I'm never going to forget it. I'm not forgetting. I don't forget things. Thank you. I don't forget things. Where are the pastors that got up? Where are they? Where are they? Where are those guys? Man, oh man. I'll never follow you again. At least we had Herschel in between, right? And Herschel didn't like it either. That was really great. Thank you both. Thank you all very much. That was beautiful. That was from the heart, and we appreciate it. We won't forget. We won't forget. I will fiercely defend the vital role of black churches in America. Okay? Joe Biden and the Democrats say that Black Lives Matter, but they do not protect the most vulnerable black lives of all, unborn children. They support the unlimited abortion of black children right up until the 9th month of pregnancy. And if you look at this governor of Virginia, beyond, I had not heard that, but if you look at the governor of Virginia, he said the baby is born, and then they start to talk. I said, wait a minute, that's not abortion. That's not abortion. You know what that is? No, I call it execution, really. You've seen that, right? I had not heard that. You hear late-term abortion. You never heard that. But the governor of Virginia, the one that thinks he's Michael Jackson, the one whose wife stopped him from trying to imitate Michael Jackson moonwalking. And one thing we know, he's not going to be Michael. There's nobody There's nobody that can moonwalk like Michael. He got very lucky. That would have been the end if he would have done that one. But the Democrats champion Planned Parenthood, an organization founded on racism that continues to target the black community. In the Republican Party, we believe in protecting all black lives, including the unborn. We believe that every child of every race, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. Republicans believe that all human life is sacred. At no time before has there been a clearer choice between two parties, two visions, two philosophies, two agendas for the future. Now, you know that. There's never been a difference like this. Our opponents want our children to grow up in a socialist nation that will mean less opportunity, less prosperity, less safety, and less hope for the future. The Democrat Party's message to your children is that their path is doomed and that their country is evil. My message to every child in America is the exact opposite. I want our children to know that they are part of the most exciting and incredible adventure in human history. No matter where your family comes from, no matter your background, in America, anyone can rise. Democrats divide our country by race. Republicans unite Americans through our shared bonds of citizenship. You see it here. This glorious country is the shared heritage of all Americans. In every generation, black patriots poured out their blood, sweat, heart, and soul to defend American liberty and to realize our founding promise that we are all made equal by the hand of Almighty God. African-American leaders lifted up the conscience of our nation to end slavery and segregation and secure your civil rights. Black heroes like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Booker T. Washington, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Thurgood Marshall helped build the most just, noble, free, and exceptional nation on earth. Now, with the help of a new generation of black patriots, and there some of them are right now, we will reach new heights of glory and greatness. We will and you know this, we are going to revitalize our cities. It's in the process. We will bring more jobs and factories back to our communities. We will give every single child a chance to reach their full God-given potential. We will build the most inclusive society, the most successful economy, and the most inspiring future the world has ever seen. And we will do it for citizens of every background, every race, religion, color, and creed. Together, we made unbelievable progress and achieved once unimaginable success. Nobody thought it was possible. And with your support, your vote, and your voice, the best is yet to come. So this has been a great honor for me. I have a lot of friends in the audience, and I just want to thank you very much. God bless you. God bless America. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.